is we're a relatively young company, and whilst we have 50, 60 years between us in interactive business building, etc., we want to get our product to market as fast as we can to as many merchants as we can. And where Mr. Pearson has some good relationships, we're happy for him to introduce us, and we have an arrangement to do that. So when we're knocking on the doors of some retailers who are sort of saying, no, go away, not interested, don't like it, or we can do it ourselves, which we always get, and then they come back 6 months later and say, actually, we can't do it ourselves, can you help? So it's really accelerating our route to market. But his role in voucher codes, there's a lot of voucher code companies out there. We want to work with all of them, but we're only going to help him and his software where the voucher code is present, and we can help remarket the voucher code we've got. And that's it.
Can I just query that point for a second? So, you said where a voucher code is present.
Yeah.
Does the voucher code have to match within the database a voucher code that has been exclusively presented to Mark Pearson, or does it has to be a generalised generic voucher code?
It's a my voucher code voucher code.
How do you know?
Because he has, where he's got
an
exclusive discount.
Provided with a fee, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, where he
Anyone else nervous about that?
Where he has an exclusive, let's say with Argos, he gets a 15% voucher off anyone who wants to buy a TV that we're trying to get rid of. I mean, sorry, it was a great bargain. Where he has a code exactly for that, but let's face it, it's the value of voucher codes. What we're doing is seeing that voucher code, we know it's unique because he's provided us the voucher code to start with, he knows a unique voucher code, and we're telling him his voucher code has failed at basket level.
So we know it's unique because
he's giving us a pre-populated database.
Okay, but
to your question, no, these guys are vetting the results to make sure that if someone had stolen the code from somewhere, that's not their responsibility.
I have to say there is a significant issue in the industry of voucher codes being represented as exclusive or non-exclusive.
You're absolutely right, and we thankfully certainly thanks go to Kevin because we're trying to help merchants make more money online because that's great for the industry. The more money that people spend online, the better for all of us that online makes sense.
So say us all.
So we're absolutely delighted with that. But to really nail the hat trick of questions there, which is well done. Like an England bowler today. But
every day, man.
but the thing is, we have seen issues like that, and in fact, with my voucher codes, when we've sat there and had a round table, any questions we've had, we take to them, and it has forced us down the line of saying to him, right, we want you to prove and authenticate that this voucher code has come from this merchant, it's for this. We have our own guys that search the marketplace as well and make sure we're not getting voucher codes from somewhere else, because what we're not helping my voucher codes or any other voucher code business do is build a generic business on grabbing codes all over the place. We're not interested in doing that.
Could I just make a suggestion? Because obviously, I'd much rather trust you than not. But I also think the checks and balances are important in this respect. So what I think would be really useful is if a standardised data that you get within 1 month from a given voucher code site was checked through by the network team or the regulation subcommittee at some point to make sure that we feel that it's right.
All the networks that the codes are sourced.
All the networks that the codes are sourced from. Just to go through the process, because if it's done differently, and it could be very easily. To significant benefit of.
Well, here's the thing I'll say. One thing we're not going to do is put a level of auditing in our business which is administrative, expensive, and not necessary.
Understood that.
The market has to trust us, and the second thing is what the market has to understand is if we start doing something like this for my voucher codes, we ruin the chances of us doing business with any other voucher code company because it's going to be a land grab, and we can't do that.
Any other voucher code site that has a query should work with you so that they can give you their database.
That's a very good point.
Absolutely. You're quite right. And actually, we are. We are absolutely open to that because we are starting to work with more and more voucher code companies, and we're starting to realise that we need to make sure that there is integrity amongst all the codes that they use. And we've seen, and certainly in the affiliate models and the networks have brought it to our attention, that there is the opportunity to land grab and people using data in the wrong ways. We've got to be whiter than white because really our customers are merchants. And what our merchants don't want is us cross-mixing data and voucher codes and everything all over the place because it just means they give away more and more margin to more and more people.
Sure.
So we've absolutely got to be 100% sure that the data came from where we said it came from.
I think
we will produce exception reports. You know,
that's. I mean, nobody wants to restrain your ability to make money, and nobody wants to add reporting that is a nightmare. But I think that it would be useful for you guys to go through the process as a one-off of ensuring that data is verified by the council.
I think part of us being here today, part of us being very open and transparent with the way we do business, which probably many companies would not, and part of us doing that is the fact that we do want these relationships to work. We want the relationships with the voucher code companies, the merchants, the affiliate networks, because we actually do have a really strong company standpoint that we believe our product helps everyone in every sector of those markets, and we think that's a great proposition, and we need to educate people about that. So I think the easiest thing to say is we're absolutely amenable to looking at something that could be put into place relatively easily, very straightforward, that would make people comfortable. And I think the forum for that, maybe if people would prefer to see that, maybe to pass it, I assume, through a subcommittee to discuss it and come to us with a proposition and say we'd like to see something like this, and we can assess it from there. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, we're also a very open company. We touch a lot of companies. It's growing exponentially because the abandonment problem in the marketplace is so huge. And what we are is open to be contacted. If people say, you know what, I'm building traffic here, but suddenly it's gone down, and my conversion rate isn't what it was, and I saw voucher codes be really prominent, give us a call. We'll have a look, and we'll have a look at data that we've got and make sure no one's trying to pull a fast one. And we're very, very careful about it. But we are an open door for that. So anyone's welcome to email us, contact us.
So in terms of the My Voucher Code solution itself, I take it if they're working on that retargeting basis, there has to be some sort of integration with the merchant side. They're not going to start automatically retargeting customers coming on from merchants.
Well, we don't allow them access to the data that we capture. Yeah. So that's the first thing. We don't. Let me finish the question first. We don't actually give him any access to any information or any other voucher code company. In addition, we don't really have to do anything different with the merchant and try and create any other privileged position. What is absolutely essential is where My Voucher Codes already has a relationship, an existing merchant relationship, and that's where we've licensed them to do this. They are allowed to introduce us to the merchant. Our technology team take over, and we introduce our own JavaScript. All the technology lives in our cloud, in what we have. Voucher Codes carries on doing the business as they do. We audit their voucher code system. If we find an abandonment with their voucher code, we will allow that remarketing to happen, but we do it. And most of the time, the email comes through an SMTP of the retailer. So if it's WH Smith, for example, we don't send an email. We have access to Smith's email system, and they send an email. And that's how it works. So any voucher code company will not get a database from us. They won't get to dedupe. There's none of that going on. There's no sort of special treatment.
And it's also not something that can start automatically, so you've already got a relationship with NBC.
Yeah.
And they can start doing it without the merchant knowing. It would have to involve the merchant for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, yeah. And we won't allow a program to go live or any remarketing to go live unless we've got all the privacy agreements signed, everything's in place, software license, usage, that sort of thing. And there's some integrity that any voucher company has to abide by, that we set, so to speak. So,
yeah. Don't forget, we're a data processor, we're not a data owner. Yeah. Full legality.
I should have been patient because you answered the question.
You can't back out now.
What I was going to ask was how solid is the separation between the data captured and the merchant?
It's hosted, we host it. It's not, we mentioned they have access to it, they don't have password, login, protection, etc. The data is hosted in our system. The only reason an email address would be retained is not for any other purpose other than to ensure that that email address does not receive another abandonment email. Because what we did want to discourage was this concept that someone goes to a website, abandons, they get a remarketing style email that says, oh, you can also have 5% off if you do come back on your next purchase, and they do that again the next time, go, oh, I'll get a 5% discount. So the email address is just purely it's a check. Has that received an email before? Yes, it has. We don't send a voucher discount.
Is that whether they've opted in or out? Regardless, they'll get the one.
They'll get one. Absolutely, yeah. Everyone will get a single abandonment email.
I'll tell you what is fascinating, which prompts me to think about it, is we're going to publish a report this week on our original month with WH Smith and some of their conversion metrics, where we sent an email saying, look, you're in the shopping cart, you seem to have trouble, would you like to come back? And by the way, here's an incentive. Sometimes they'll introduce free shipping or something if it was a big order or whatever. But most of the time, people coming back, even if we're given an incentive, over 80% aren't using it. which is astounding. So it's almost like we're doing a job that we're not bother doing sometimes. But it just shows the consumer often will receive some information, it will prompt them, and they'll close it off and not follow all the new click-throughs or anything like that, and just go back. So it's interesting that we don't actually show that great on metrics for people using the material we send them.
In fact, Palo reports quite commonly the email hasn't even been opened, it's been received though, so they've seen it in the subject line, WH Smith customer care, or they've got, I was going to purchase from them, and I've received the purchase, so that's what we found.
So how do you get paid if the consumer hasn't opened the email or recruited?
We don't.
You only get paid when an affiliate needs
The only time we get paid is when someone clicks through the email that we sent, transacts in that click-through, and it's not an affiliate-driven visitor.
Yeah.
That's the only time we get paid.
So if an affiliate cookie is present because clearly the affiliate's driven the traffic, it doesn't matter that we convert, and that's why we have a licensed relationship with the merchant, because we'd like to get something over time, but the way we see it is that's just life, it's just the way it goes. We know for some of our retailers we're providing, if let's say for example we're converting £10,000 of retail for them directly from our emails, we're probably converting another 20 or 30,000 for them that we're not even being picked up or credited for. But we can see in our system a minute from sending an email, there's a transaction, and we know it's us, but we just can't get paid because it's it would be onerous on the merchant. So our attitude is there's a lot of trade they get in general, and they're certainly not worried about us. They're certainly not worried about overpaying us. And the traffic's important. I mean, they need more and more traffic, more and more volume, and if we raise their conversions, they're really happy with the end result. So yeah, we just don't get paid sometimes. Well, we'd love to be paid, but the truth is, there's so much abandonment that happens. There's so much conversion left on the table. The small bit we get, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're very happy to get that.
And we're not putting our hands up and saying we're not trying to make money, because we absolutely are. I hope we are. We absolutely are. There is a significant revenue share to take from just those transactions. As I said, 90% effectively that goes and abandons, doesn't need a purchase or goes to a competitor. Now, if we can take just a small portion of that, then it's still significant revenue.
I mean, there's also an argument that some of the traffic that you do get would have come back to the site anyway. So there's circles and roundabouts, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
How you set your commissions according to the value of the
yeah.
I think we're going to have to move on now. So if anyone has any questions or wants to follow up with any of the guys, I'm sure that they can make